So you found a profitable item, but you're not sure how many to buy. That's the point of this video. And to jump right into it, here's a really simple formula you can use. Total amount of monthly sales of an item divided by the amount of competitive sellers equals the amount of sales you can project to get in a given month. Now I know that's a simple equation, but how do you know the amount of total sales in a month? Or how do you calculate what is considered a competitive seller? And just because that's the amount of sales I can get in a month, how many should I be buying in total? Not to mention some other factors. We're gonna break all of that down here, so stay tuned. I've got some examples and I'm gonna walk you through it. Quick note, there is no such thing as a 100% accurate way to determine exactly how many times an item sells in a month. I don't care what tools, what softwares, what your IQ is, there's so many moving parts, it's impossible to know exactly, and frankly, you don't need to. Also, every single item in Amazon's catalog is assigned a sales rank. The lower the number, the better. Number 1 is the fastest selling item in a particular category, okay? Every time that an item sells or sells multiple times in a quick period of time, Keepa will show a drop in sales rank, and that's what we're gonna look at in a second. So it's safe to assume when you see a drop in sales rank on the Keepa chart, that means a sale or multiple sales have happened in a short period of time. So a drop is kind of equivalent of a sale. So I have a couple examples in Keepa open on my computer. Basically, I just want to show you a cheat code on how you can see a rough estimate of how many times an item dips in sales rank, because again, we equate a dip with a sale, right? So if you look here in the top, I'm just hovering over with my cursor. There's a lot of dips. It's constantly going up and down, up and down. I don't expect anybody to manually count that, okay? And this is a 3-month snapshot, by the way. What you can do is scroll down, and if you hover here over the statistic tab, in the lower right-hand corner, you're gonna see 56 per month, okay? That's under the sales rank column. So if you go up, you'll see sales rank. And if you look to the left, drops 90-day average, 56 per month. So that means on average, 56 times every month over the last 3 months, this item has had a sales rank dip, AKA this item has sold 56 times in a given month. That's not exactly 100% accurate. As I mentioned, there's no perfect way. But that's a really, really simple way to get a relatively rough estimate, and that's kind of what I use. Here's another example, okay? A Starbucks product, again, a lot of up and down. You can't manually count this. I mean, I guess you could. You just go to statistic. Coincidentally, this also averages 56 drops in sales rank per month over the last 3 months, okay? Pure coincidence. So both of these products on average sell 56 times per month. Again, I don't need anyone chirping. That's not 100% accurate, but for me, it's a good enough starting point to know that it sells a good amount. So now it's time to define what is a competitive seller, the second part of the equation, right? For me, the way that I gauge a competitive seller is A, they're an FBA seller. So I'm competing with FBA sellers whose products are listed as prime. I'm not comparing it to FBM sellers. Are there always exceptions to the rules? Of course, but generally speaking, FBA gets a major advantage to FBM and therefore a lot more sales. So that's what I'm more concerned with. And 2, they have to be priced appropriately. And what I mean by that is a competitive seller is someone to me that not only does FBA, but has their price listed within 5 or 10% of where I'm gonna be listing my product. So let's say there's 3 sellers that are FBA sellers that are have a product listed for $25 for all of them, and that's where I'm gonna sell it for. Well, to me, they're all competitive sellers. Let's say there's another FBA seller that's listing the same product for $49. I'm not considering them a competitive seller because as long as the other sellers and myself are selling for $25, that person at $49 is getting no sales, so it's irrelevant. Now here we are in Inventory Lab at the first product. As you can see, there's a lot of FBM sellers who I ignore. There's also a lot of FBA sellers, okay? One person selling it for $21.49. You see one at $21.50, $21.69, okay? and then one at $29.69. So let's just say I was comfortable selling this around $21.50. I would say that there are 3 other competitive sellers. I would be the 4th, and I wouldn't put the person selling it for $29.69 in the category of competitive seller because it's very unlikely they would win the buy box. It would be a very much an exception to the rule, okay? So on this example, I would be the 4th competitive seller, and then I would decide how many to buy based on that metric. All right, so now let's piece it all together. Just as a reminder, I look at statistic, I see it sells on average 56 times per month, or at least that's the amount of sales rank drops, which I equate to sales, loosely. I've also determined that there's 3 competitive sellers despite the fact that there's 8 or 9 sellers in total. I'm the 4th competitive seller. Therefore, what I would do is take 56 total sales in a month divided by 4 competitive sellers equals 14. So if we all are the only sellers, competitive sellers, and we stay to that price point, we can all assume that we would each get 14 sales per month, okay? As a general rule of thumb. Now I want to show you something in Keepa to take it a little bit more advanced, okay? Because at this point, we don't know if those competitive sellers have a ton of stock, or maybe they each only have 1 item. And if they only have 1 piece of stock, well then I might buy more than the 14 or more than what I normally would because I know they're about to run out. So you can go into Keepa, and up here there's a tab that says Data. Click on that. And now here's a list of all of the sellers. And again, we're only looking at FBA sellers, which will have the prime wording right next to them that I'm showing you. Those are the 3 that I mentioned, the 3 competitive sellers. And look right here, there's a stock column. So this person has 15 in stock, this has 12, and this has 22, okay? So that tells me they're gonna all get their 14, at least for the next month based on their amount of current stock. Now, if they each only had 1 or 2, that might determine how much more I buy. So that's a little bit of an advanced technique to see if you can up the amount that you purchase based on those other competitive sellers' stock. Okay, so this helps answer the question, how many you can project to sell in the upcoming month, right? Singular month. But it doesn't answer the question, how many should you buy total, right? Everyone has different philosophies. For me, I personally like to project my purchases based on 1 month inventory. So using that example, I would go ahead and buy 14 of them. Now, if it was a really good deal, and I've been doing this for a while and I trust my instinct, maybe I would buy 20. Or if I don't think I can get my hands on it again at this price, you know, and stock up for 2 months if it's a good seller. On the flip side, if it's a brand new product, maybe I err on the side of caution, or maybe it's not a crystal clear Keepa chart and I only buy 6 or 8. Whatever it is, everyone has different risk tolerance or whatever the case may be. But regardless, make no mistakes about it. There's a lot of things that you can't control. You don't know if this product is going to have an influx of sellers or an influx of inventory into the marketplace that you couldn't have predicted. There's just things out of your control. Amazon themselves can start selling this product and buy 5,000 units of it, and you won't see a sale at a price that you like for a year. So this is why, no matter what stage you're at, always test buy. Go wide, not deep, especially early on. There is so much opportunity on Amazon. The home runs will come if you keep hitting the singles. I hope that helps answer the question of how many you should buy. Again, everyone's different, but as a general rule of thumb, total amount of times a unit sells in a month divided by the total amount of competitive sellers, yourself included, equals how many sales you can project to get in a given month. There's a lot of variables beyond that, but on a very elementary level to help you get started if you're a beginner, that's what I would suggest, doing that calculation and then buying 1 month's supply because you don't want to get burned by things you can't predict and you're always going to be learning, all right? I'm Jonathan, this is Duke Does Amazon, excuse me. Thanks for being here. I'm on Instagram as well. If you have any questions or comments, put them below. I will see you guys soon.